Welcome everybody.
It's Waterbox Live.
Yes, it is. Our favorite day of the week.
Absolutely. Today we're talking about feeding, and we're demonstrating and talking about feeding saltwater fish for health and longevity.
Cool episode, you guys. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel. We got merch available on waterboxaquariums.com. Let's get started.
Nope.
And we're back. Alrighty, you guys. We got a special show for you guys this week that's pretty cool. We're talking about feeding saltwater fish. This is going to be a pretty active demonstration.
Yes,
for
we're
you.
actually going to, on the Dream build, the 220, going to go out there, talk about the different types of fish food, who gets what, why, and actually feed the fish. They're quite hungry today. They haven't been fed, so they're looking
They're
forward
waiting.
to this. It is way past their dinner time, so they're quite ready for this.
Yeah, I encourage you guys to engage in the stream, ask questions, because when we come back in here, we will do some questions as well as the Ask Jess segment as well. Again, I didn't talk about this before the stream, but let's give away a couple ornaments. So, two of you lucky guys in the streams that are engaging with us will win a Waterbox Aquariums ornament for Christmas. So
it's perfect time. I'm pretty sure most people put up their Christmas tree over Thanksgiving break or are about to put it up. So you can have a nice new ornament this year to go on it.
Love it.
I'm going to throw a couple on my tree. Got it put up there. And it feels like winter here.
It does.
I can't lie. We're in Florida.
It's
and
at
we're
least
wimps.
50 degrees.
And this morning there was actual frost on the ground, and there was ice and like a little bit of water in my yard. And it was horrible.
This is about all the cold that I can actually handle. Like, I'm good with a few days here and there, but once it becomes excessive, I'm like, all right, let's move on.
Dude, it was like 37 degrees.
Typically, I'm at the beach on Christmas,
yeah,
hanging out.
We're getting a cold snap, make us feel winter with the rest of the country, but so we'll give away some ornaments, but we're gonna feed some fish today.
Yeah. And again, you guys, if you got any questions about what we're doing, what we're feeding, post them below. This should be a pretty cool, very interactive and beautiful episode.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah, so guys, we're still here. We're moving to the other room.
Moving on over.
Yeah, we're just moving over.
I'm gonna move this a little bit.
If you guys aren't familiar with the 220-gallon Dream build, we did an entire, I think at least 8-week series on this tank, right, Jess? Just about.
Maybe
already 2 years
I think
ago.
it's been longer, but yeah. So it's over 2 years old now. We kind of ramped the lights back up because this is usually their bad time. And like I said, they haven't been fed yet today, but we have a lot of variety of fish in here. So it's a great tank to demonstrate feeding on because we just have everything from, carnivores to all that stuff, to tangs who are herbivores. So it's going to let us show you a lot of different feeding types and methods and reasons why we do it. I guess probably one of the first things is talking about your tangs. So you look good.
Sorry, I had to. I just got to we're looking at the tank, I got to put my sunglasses on.
All right. So as far as we talk, all fish, it's kind of just like all the animal species. You've got herbivores, which are vegetable, carnivores, which are meat, and then omnivores that eat everything. So you have to feed them according to their type. So one of the most known fish is probably a tang. And I feel like a lot of times they don't get the proper diet because they're not fed enough vegetable matter, which is very important for them. So first thing that I do, usually every day, and if you have a tang, this is what you should do as well, is actually gotta put some seaweed in there. And we use green and purple. And
you said that you think that the purple's their favorite.
I think purple is their favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know, others may vary, but I've just over 15 years of using it have seen.
Yeah, there you go.
So if you guys haven't heard these, most people, this is typically what they feed. It's one of the most well-known brands.
It is. It's a really
Chilean
common
Spunks,
one.
two little fishies, sea veggies. You can make sushi with it if you really want to.
So basically in there you've got these sheets, this size, and depends on how big your tang is, how many you have. A lot of times you're only going to need a small portion of this, whatever they're going to consume in 30, 40 minutes, something like that. Tangs are pigs, so usually we'll devour it right away. If you've got big aggressive tangs, I always recommend you fold it a few times because you're going to put it on an algae clip, and then I like rip it so that they can only take small chunks.
You taught me that the other day. I've never done that, and it works really well.
It does, because if you put the whole thing on here, your like biggest tank's gonna come up and just rip it off and go running around the tank, take it under a rock, make a mess, and not let anyone else have it. So that kind of helps.
Our tusk likes to do that.
Right. So what we've actually had to come up with here, beyond just doing that, because of the tusk, and Mango, who is just a complete pig for the naso, is I do that, and then I put it on the clip, and then I soak it. Makes it even softer. And what makes it is like they really can't rip a big piece off at all, because even when I was doing that trick, the tusk was just like taking it, running off with it, and then Mango would do the same thing. And we've got yellow tangs and blue tangs in here too. So I just soak it for a little bit so it gets nice and soft. Let me put it in here, and you're gonna see like it just kind of breaks up. Some smaller pieces will go for the smaller tangs, and they can't rip it to shreds. So now we have to soak it.
I always find it so odd that the harlequin tusk is going after that algae, because typically they're pretty much a carnivore, are they not?
They are, but I think they'll just eat anything.
Yeah.
So you see, that keeps it on there in a lot of small pieces, and kind of gives everyone a chance to actually get their algae, because a lot of times you'll find like your smaller tangs won't get enough, and then they won't be as healthy.
Yeah.
So this is allowing kind of pieces to go everywhere. It can be messy, but you've got to get the vegetable to your tank.
And this needs to be, especially with this many tangs in the tank, needs to be done daily.
Yes, because if they don't get their vegetable and they're fed mostly meat, they'll get like head and lateral line disease. They will lose their color. It's, they are strict herbivores, even though they will eat meat.
Yeah.
They really need all that vegetable. So
because on the reef, they would be a grazing fish, right?
they pick all day at algae, all day. So this always goes in first. That way your tangs earlier in the day have gotten plenty of vegetables. We're just kind of doing it together at the same time for a demonstration on this one.
Cool.
So that's for your tangs. And a lot of angels are pretty big herbivores as well. So kind of the same theory if you have angels in a fish only or a reef. And then the next is going to be carnivore. So our big tusk, he is, if he doesn't know it or not, is a carnivore, and he should be eating meat. And because of his size, he does need some bigger chunks of stuff. So we usually will use like krill or just like something of a meaty mix. So this one here, we're using just some IQF krill, individually quick frozen, so you can grab individual pieces. And then I'm actually using the reef mix from Worldwide because it's got some big meaty chunks in there.
Can we show them that IQF? Because I think that's kind of cool. Yeah, so when she said IQF, that means individual quick frozen. So it's a little freezer burnt.
Yeah.
That's okay. They're basically frozen like almost individually, right? So they're real. You're not taking like a giant chunk of frozen, like if you.
So you have like flat packs. You can buy like these big old flat packs, and it's just this thin layer of all frozen krill, and you're going to take off a big chunk, you're gonna break these big chunks, and then you have like a ton of krill, or they're kind of in pieces. This you can actually pick out individual ones.
Yeah.
So basically I put like 6 or 7 krill in here, and then a chunk of the reef mix, just because it's got a little bit of everything. But it's easy to target feed that stuff, is what I found out.
Good stuff. If you guys want to know where you can pick those up, I think most local fish stores have that. There's maybe a few online companies that'll ship it as well. But
frozen food's hard to find online. Go to your
it
local
is,
fish
because it's
store.
very expensive to ship.
Which actually brings up kind of like a side topic. What is important is feeding frozen food versus dry.
Yes.
So when you're looking at like the nutrition and stuff, frozen food's always going to be more nutritious. It's going to have more protein, all the regular omega acids and stuff. So always, when possible, feed frozen, and use your dry foods more as a backup or a supplement. But you're going to get a lot better nutrition for your fish. So even though it might be harder to source, a little bit harder, you got to defrost it and kind of do all that. Well worth using it instead.
Absolutely. Just like if you guys watch Blue Friday, Devin said he has just a routine. So like make it a routine that when you feed your tank. So like if you get up in the morning, you're having your coffee, throw the algae clip in.
Yeah.
I think Devin said he actually does it at night potentially. So just make it part of your routine that you feed the fish.
I find a lot of people have always been like, oh, I don't have time to like worry about frozen food every day, or like one cube, because a lot of times it comes in cubes. One cube is too much for one feeding. You can actually defrost food, not in the water, but like in a container with no water. Defrost it, and it can stay in your fridge for a day or two.
Yeah.
So you could take 1 cube of mysis or 1 set of something and use it over the course of a couple days.
Yep.
And then it's just easy, pull a little bit as you need every day. So next, so that the tusk doesn't steal everyone else's food when we do feeding time, is gonna just, and you'll find that a lot of your other fish, I don't know where he went. Our tusk is hiding for feeding time. He's gone. All right. You'll see, like the tang, if you put meat in, we'll eat it, but she doesn't need that nutrition. But my tusk is hiding completely. The tusk ran away. He does not want to be
The
eating
carnivore is filled up on algae.
He does not want to eat on camera. So maybe, I don't know, where did he go? They actually, the clownfish are
Right
feeding.
there in the middle, there he goes.
The clownfish are feeding their elegant squirrel. There we go. Come here. So I put this in. And you can see he's got big old teeth. So I like this is because it holds together well. I mean, everyone else is coming for it, but. Oh, come on. As you can see, tusks are carnivores, but they're big wimps. They're like big babies. Come on.
There you go.
So we won't need this big of a chunk, but.
Make use of those big gnarly teeth.
I know, like people are always like, oh, but they're so big and they're aggressive. Like, he took a big piece and he ain't gonna eat all that.
He's gonna go hide behind the rocks and.
Yep. He's gonna go kind of bust it up in the rocks or whatever. So you want meaty food for your carnivores. That's wrasses, bigger wrasses, like tusk, groupers. You know, if you have a fish only kind of deal. But he's not one for the camera. He did not like being on the camera at all. Which is fine.
Again, you guys, I encourage you to post questions if you have, and once we get back in the studio, we'll try to take as many of them as we can. So.
All right, so that kind of like covers herbivores and carnivores. You know, your bigger type of fish, tangs, wrasses, groupers. So another thing, if you've got like tangs, angels, and stuff like that, is also going to be a frozen algae cube. And this one here does have some meat in it, but it's got a good algae base. And that one, like an example, is like emerald entree. You've got that, like Formula 2 cubes, any of those are an algae base frozen food that you can feed. And that one here, they come in little cubes and they kind of break up easily, but I like to try and make sure, you know, you kind of like break it up more gentle, otherwise it will just become really tiny pieces. And this is gonna let all your little fish, all your chromis, your clowns, all your tanks and stuff will eat this kind of stuff.
I see the mandarin swimming around. Does he happen to be taking any of that prepared food yet?
Not this, but he will usually take pellets or like some frozen small stuff. So I'm gonna try and see once everyone's fed if he will take some pellets for us. And then
We got Reef Hacks with us here. John, Neil, Macy, Kevin, Louie. Just to remind you guys, we are exclusively now streaming to YouTube. So you can't find us on Facebook Live anymore, but we do share the actual stream there, so you can easily link on over to YouTube.
Yep.
So.
All right, so that's another form. Another one that's really popular in like a frozen variety is gonna be like mysis or enriched brine shrimp. It's gonna come in a cube. It's basically like a meaty type of thing. Here, just comes in a cube. And then that's gonna go for pretty much all your fish. Wrasses, anthias, everyone will eat on that. So I'm trying not to overfeed either, but I want to at least make you guys see. This
Just to
is
demonstrate
more,
all the different types of food.
a little bit more than we usually put in here, but just to go. So, I mean, you've got a lot of variety with this, but this is basically a smaller meat for smaller fish. So your clowns, anthias, wrasses all appreciate food like this.
Yeah, the anthias is eating it up.
Because they're not going to be able to eat those big chunks of krill and stuff, so you need another meat source for them. I can put some pellets in and try and get that mandarin to eat, because they kind of sit in place. But you got to have everyone else fat and happy before they'll allow a little fish like that to eat. I need my turkey baster.
Jason actually has a good question. I don't know where Jess is, so I don't know if I'm talking over.
No, you're good. I was looking for my turkey baster, but
Okay. Jason says, why the big move to YouTube only? I'm going to try to answer that the best I can. Keenan, you might be able to help me with that. But really, it's a bit more complicated to stream to both. And this allows us also to interact a bit more quickly with the audience, as well as like when we do giveaways and such, we're not fighting between the two sources. So we do, obviously we're sharing the link to the stream. It's just we're only streaming to one platform.
Yeah, that's about it. It makes us a little bit more, it allows us to be more interactive and reactive.
Yeah,
to
much
comments and
quicker, yeah.
questions.
yeah. All right. Trying to see if our mandarin gets in a good spot to put some food in there. So a few other things, like just besides feeding, is like supplements you can put in your food. You know, a lot of times we proactively put garlic in there, and this is actually a natural appetite stimulant, immune booster. A lot of times you use it if your fish does happen to have a parasite or something. It helps them fight it off a little bit better. Always good to put in their food, especially for new fish, get them start eating. You've also got like amino acids, stuff like that you can put in. But do be careful, because you can put too much like amino acids and stuff in its nutrients. It'll make your water dirtier.
Yep.
And then some pellets as well. We do use pellets on here just because sometimes it's easier, or it gives a little bit of a treat or a snack to the fish. And like I said, our little mandarin guy, at times, if he can get like a little pile of them somewhere, we'll actually eat some pellets.
The question is, where did he go?
He's behind the bubble, and I'm trying to find out where our turkey baster went.
Yeah, let me go look for you real quick. Actually,
Yeah, we
'cause
used it this
hang on.
Thanksgiving, and we can't locate it afterwards. So, like, I'll even just put a couple pellets in here. Like I said, they're feasting today. This is like their Thanksgiving. Pellets are good. A lot of fish will take pellets.
Got you covered, Jess.
All right.
It was used on another tank earlier, so
Okay.
there it is.
So a lot of fish will take pellets. A lot of times you will have anthias and some newer fish that will not accept them. You know, so some of your more delicate, hard to keep fish may only go for frozen for a long time. So don't hedge your bets that they're always going to. And our little mandarin's coming along to this side. And I want to see if he will, because he's been picking along on what we've been feeding. But this is not an aquaculture. No, come back.
Don't be
Come
scared.
back. He ran.
Yeah.
It's not always easy, but he does take pellets. I don't know if he'll come back out and grab a couple that settle on the ground, but he's gone
He went back into the rocks.
back into the rock. But I've been catching him at the right spot, and he has some stuff settle in front of him. He'll actually pick at it and eat it, which is a good thing for something that only eats pods. It helps supplement their diet. But he is not coming out.
He stays pretty fat and happy in this tank. I think just because it's so mature and there's lots of pods in here and things to eat. So he's a good looking fish.
Yeah, and if you have one of those, another food thing you have to put in regularly if it's a newer tank or not as big is going to be copepods. You can buy them live. You know, you can put a refugium in so that they kind of reproduce in the aquarium regularly. But like he just scoots about. He's not participating in our feeding demonstration today. Kind of like the tusk wasn't.
Again, you guys, if you have questions, post them below. We'll try to get to as many as we can. We're giving away 2 ornaments, Waterbox Aquariums ornaments at the end of the show. So those are going to people that engage with us. So definitely post your questions. Keenan, I see a lot of good questions coming through. So
Yeah, I was
you're
hoping
up to
to
the
show.
challenge when you get back into the studio.
I was hoping to show the mandarin as kind of like our last thing of him picking at food, but he does not seem to be participating. But otherwise, you know, that kind of is like a breakdown of the categories of food and fish, and we can definitely answer questions that are a little more detailed.
Someone asked what the purple coral with the strings coming out. I think you're talking about the bubble coral.
That one there, that's a bubble coral, and he puts those streamers out usually nighttime or when he senses feeding. And you can actually see we did a feeding demonstration on this tank once. We did it recently on the frag. That kind of talks about different types of corals, what to feed them. But he's looking for nice big chunks of food right now.
Ahmed says, love the blonde tang. That blonde tang, blonde naso tang, his name is Mango.
And he's an anomaly.
Yeah, the miniature naso tang that I've had since for about 13 years.
Not intentionally miniature.
No. But she stays very healthy, very fat and happy.
Yeah.
Voracious eater, good personality too.
I know one day a scientist is going to reach out to us to like figure out what made her a midget one or miniature one.
Yeah.
And then they're going to come up with a miniature blonde naso off of Mango.
All right, guys, we're heading back to the studio here. So if you guys have questions, put them down below and we will get to them here in just a second.
Yes.
Again, if you guys are looking to pick up a Waterbox Aquarium, you can head over to waterboxaquariums.com, as well as in the UK, Canada, and Europe. That
Everywhere.
was a little bit flipped around for the countries. We also have merchandise available, such as our T-shirts and stuff in our merch store.
We have a
So
lot of cool
definitely pick
stuff
that
in
up.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
We
got
also have them available on
microfiber
YouTube.
cloths. We have the shirts,
Yeah.
like mugs, like
Sweatshirts, since it's getting colder. We got hats.
I need a sweatshirt right now in here because you cranked the AC down and it's about 50 degrees in here
It's
again.
much warmer than it was about an hour ago, I'm just saying.
I can't handle the cold. All right, we're good. Yeah, so lots of great merch and stuff available. We're going to give away 2 ornaments, but I mean, I could probably talk fish feeding and nutrition and stuff for like 3 hours straight if we want to
Yeah.
get into like every type of
The
fish
nitty-gritty, yeah.
and like, you know, the requirements and all that stuff. But kind of a good breakdown of all the different food choices. Do stay away from like fake flake food. It's
Yeah.
very popular in freshwater, but it really is not a good thing in saltwater for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I even think pellets are better for freshwater. But go with frozen, you know, feed according to what your fish needs. And, you know, make sure that they're also not being overfed.
Right.
Because that's a huge problem in aquariums, is people overfeeding their tanks,
huge.
which is equals algae, extra nutrients, high phosphates, that kind of stuff. And if you have corals, it's going to be a hard balance if you feed too much.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way when I first started out. I was feeding
Most
too
people
much.
do.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
like, where is this hair algae coming from?
Yep.
What's going on here? Well, everyone enjoys feeding the fish. You just got to not do it too often.
And they will
Or
always
not
look
too
hungry.
much.
Yeah, they'll always look hungry. They're going to come to you. You can fed them. You walk over 5 minutes later, and you're like, oh my God, they're still hungry. I didn't feed
They're
them
trained.
enough. And they will do
Trained.
that. And they will recognize the person that usually feeds them. And they're going to like make you feel horrible for not feeding them constantly. But fish food in, waste out equals dirty water. So
Yeah.
be cautious with how much you feed. A few bites a day.
Stuart says, when we get merchandise in the UK, very soon we will have merchandise in the UK. Very, very, very soon, actually. So we'll let you guys know here on Waterbox Live when we do.
That's when all the announcements happen.
Yeah.
All the good stuff to
Yep.
find out here. So
You got to tune in every week, 6 p.m. Eastern.
I'm going to freeze in here. I'm going to just jump around.
Jumping jacks, do some push-ups.
I'm gonna jump
So-
down. Just down. She's doing push-ups. Okay.
Don't worry about it. She's doing push-ups. So again, you guys, we're going to try to take your questions here in just a moment.
Do we do Ask Jess before the questions?
However you want
No.
to do it. We can take some YouTube questions right now. Just read them off of the.
Yeah. We'll take some questions, you guys. So we're trying out. There you go.
Wow, look at
77
that.
says I have some frozen cubes that I give my freshwater fish. Will that be good for clowns also?
Depends on what they are. There's food made for different fish, but as long as it's freshwater, saltwater compatible, which most of it is, you should be fine. Because clownfish kind of eat everything. They're omnivores.
Yeah.
So you should be good if it's not like tiny little pieces of stuff.
Cool. Thank you, Neil.
Isn't that so cool on the bottom? I love it.
I know. This is new, you guys. Utilizing technologies with our knowledges. Louis Beat says, what schedule are you guys running for the lighting?
The knowledges.
Yeah. the
Blueprints.
technology.
You can, okay, not.
We're good.
Okay, if you go to the, I thought you were answering this
sorry.
one.
I'm so
I really thought you were answering this one.
sorry. No, Louis, we're running the blueprint for a mixed reef. You can actually find those on our website. If you go to the reef page, scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see lighting schedules for fish only, soft corals, and mixed reef. You can download it right there from your smartphone, drop it into the My AI app.
There we go. Hard fought for, but you did it.
John A. Corky says, any advice on keeping community of copepods in a refugium? How often to replenish?
If you have a refugium set up, they should naturally start to breed. They'll also breed in your aquarium where they're not getting eaten, like in the crevices of the rock and stuff. If you're just setting up the refugium, you're trying to build those numbers up, I would say like once a week, throw in a fresh thing of pods, because a lot of them, when you put them in the refugium, they go right into the tank. They get eaten. So only a small percentage of what you put in actually is going to start reproducing. And when you buy them, they're usually babies, so they have to grow up to the reproducing stage anyway. If you are adding them because you have like a mandarin or pipefish in there and you're trying to keep the population just going, like once a month, throw in a bag. There's never a good bad practice to go for that.
Cool. Thanks for the question, John. I like this new question thing.
You do?
I do.
I feel weird not reading them out to you. I'm like trying here to
Well, you still could. It's just that they're on the screen too. Jason says, what category does a wrasse fit into?
Carnivore.
Yeah.
Even the smaller, like fairy flasher wrasses are technically carnivores. They'll eat everything. Most fish will, but their main diet is, I mean, naturally it's copepods, mysis, all that kind of stuff out in the wild. So, and then you've got your bigger predator wrasses, which are definitely carnivores because they eat everything. They'll eat snails and crabs and small fish, but they will take an omnivore diet with no problem.
Cool.
Another one?
Oh, keep them going.
Look at that. Rocking and rolling. James says on the 130.4, I'm thinking of putting Ecotech Radion Blues, 30 or 15, and how many?
I thought.
You got it.
All right.
Take it, Jess.
I figured you should jump in on some of them and be like, I know this one, I got
He
it.
looked at me like, what the hell? Why aren't you answering that? So on the 130.4,
I try.
Typically, if you were asked me, a typical mixed reef is 2XR15 blues. That would be my pick. If you start jumping up into the larger systems like the 220 or the 180, I would go with the XR30s. But on that 130.4, just like the frag we have out here, we have 2XR15 blues. That's a perfect match.
The only way it would be different if you were doing like a full SBS system with a lot of acros. I would say maybe go for the 30s because you need so much more light.
Yeah.
Another one?
All right.
Louis Beats. Well, he's popular today. What do you recommend to feed an idol?
Moorish idol.
Moorish idol, yeah.
Honestly, the first thing I say is don't own one.
Yeah,
I'm honest.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Aquarium.
It's a death sentence.
It is. Aquarium practices have come a long way from 10 years ago when they were absolutely impossible to keep, but they're still extremely difficult to keep. And if someone said I had a Moorish idol for a year and it died, or I've had it for 6 months and he's eating great, that is not success.
Yeah.
I mean, this fish should be 15, 20 years old,
Yeah.
and they don't make it that long in
100,000%.
captivity. And I would say 99% of them that come in for the aquarium trade die. And it's just a fish I'm completely against ever owning because
It's not
you
sustainable.
keep it 2 years, 3 years, you're doing better than almost everyone who's ever kept one, and you're still not giving it the life it should have.
Yeah.
So that's my answer. Don't do it.
There you go.
I want to know what that fish looks like.
They're beautiful. It's Gil from Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one. Yeah. This is the one that has a scar right
He's
over
got
the
the
eye.
scar,
Yeah.
and he's got
Yeah.
the deep voice, and he teaches Nemo how to escape.
Next week we'll be able to show images. As you
Yes.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, there you go.
But yeah, do not get a Moorish idol. They're beautiful. If you don't have a reef tank, get a Heniochus. They're like kind of like a similar look to them. If you have a reef tank, there's like one strain of like a butterfly that looks like a Heniochus that tends to be more reef safe. And then you also have like a Zoster's butterfly and a few other ones that are reef safe. But stay away from Moorish idol.
Okay, one more.
Sure.
One more question.
I think Keenan likes this new
Yeah. So
Thanks.
Jason says, do you spot feed frozen to corals also?
Yes, definitely check out our videos. We just a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago.
Yeah, we do it. We just did a whole feeding episode.
Maybe a little over a month ago because we've just been a busy month. We did a video on the frag of how to feed corals, what type and what types of food. And we've done some in the fast on the 220, but we feed frozen food and pellets to corals, but don't feed them like a frozen piece of food.
Yeah.
But check out those videos.
They don't like
'cause
ice
we go
cubes.
pretty. No, they don't want ice cubes. We go pretty in depth with those ones to say what type, why, and how.
All right, guys, remember we're giving away a couple ornaments here at the end of the Christmas ornaments water box at the end of the episode for everyone that's engaging with us. But it's time for Ask Jess. You didn't have blonde hair in that.
No.
Maybe we need to
We need to update it.
we need to refilm that.
Or am I
Yeah.
going back to brown? I don't know.
Add it to a sauna.
Yeah. Refilm.
Redo it with the
That's just
blonde until I go like one day back into another color. We'll
Yeah.
see. But I'll be
Yeah.
blonde for a while.
So, all right, you guys. If you want to get your questions answered live, well, number one, tune in. Number two, you can email them over to askjess@waterboxaquariums.com, and we'll answer them here live. And if we don't get to them live, she'll answer them via email.
There you go.
So the first question we have is from Bert. He says, the sand in my 50.3 is too fine and I'm planning on swapping it out. Should I slowly remove some every time I do a water change, or do I just do it all at once?
Now, the one thing is missing from this information is how long the tank has been set up, and that would determine which way you need to do it. If it is newly set up in the last month or so, it's kind of still in its cycling establishment time, you could really just pull it all out and replace it with new live sand. That's a little bit coarser. Another option is to leave existing and just get a little bit of the more coarse stuff, put it on top, because that's going to stay on top. It's going to keep the finer stuff below. And as long as it's all live, it's not really going to hurt anything. If this is a longer term, like it's been up for 6 months, 9 months, a year, whatever, you never want to take out your sand bed all at one time. You will have a very bad experience for your aquarium. So you would basically take out a section each water change. And ideally, if you can like take out a section at the water change, then put live sand in that spot. And then next time, take out a section, put live sand in that spot. That would be best. Or you can remove it all. Just remember how much like biological and microfauna lives in your live sand if it's established long term. You do want to be really cautious with it. If you're really still unsure, so definitely check with your local fish store and give them your exact scenario, what you want to use, and they will help guide you. Or a lot of times they have service and probably can help you with it.
Excellent. So thank you for the question, Bert.
Okay, next one.
Next question is from
Maybe. Oh no!
All right.
It's all you, Bert.
Next question is from Ron. He says, is it recommended to start small, knowing I'll upgrade at some point to a much larger tank? This is a question we get quite often, actually.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if at this point in time all you can do is get a little bit smaller, like a nano, cube, something like that, and you have plans like, okay, I'm going to remodel my house, I'm moving, whatever, I'm going to get a bigger tank, go for it. Honestly, if you can master small, cube, and have success and like learn your ins and outs, when you go to a larger tank, you're going to have learned a lot of the learning curve.
Yeah.
Because technically a smaller tank is a little bit harder in the way of like things could go wrong more than like with a bigger tank. But it's better to have a small tank than no tank.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
and then
Any
just
water box
upgrade.
is better than no water box,
Yeah.
right?
You know, gotta have the fish in your life.
Get you a water box.
Everyone has a water box.
Waterboxaquariums.com.
Next question.
Next question is from Angela. I'm new to saltwater aquariums. I've been looking at test kits. I see some out there that are strips you just dip in the water. Are these an okay option? I know you guys always talk about liquid test kits.
Generally, no. They're not good.
Yeah. Agreed.
You can buy them, and they seem like really, because especially like if it's like a cycling tank, it does ammonia, nitrite, nitrate, pH, that kind of stuff. And they market them really well for saltwater, but they're really not meant for it. A few reasons. It's kind of like meant for just like a generic answer. And if you're like cycling your tank, you need to know for sure you don't have ammonia and nitrite. Another one is like they're not meant for long-term use. They're originally meant for lab scenarios where you're doing it all the time. And those test strips basically are used up quickly.
Yeah.
So every time you open the cap on one of those bottles, moisture and air gets in, you close it, it starts to react. Open, close. And you got like 20, 50 test strips in them. By the time you get to, down in any amount of them, they're not going to read correctly any longer. If you want the best results. Just get a liquid test kit like the API ones we use. Super easy, and they're gonna be accurate. They're gonna last you a long time.
Man, I learned stuff on that one, so hopefully you guys did too.
That's what I'm here for.
Knowledges. We're dropping knowledges with new technologies.
Oh my God, you're
Come
here.
on.
You're here for the rhymes.
All right, you guys. Because we appreciate you guys tuning in so much. There's a ton of you guys with us here today. We're going to give away 2 of these Waterbox. You can't buy these yet, but we're going to give away 2 of these. So I'll let. Yeah.
Oh, drum
here we
roll,
go.
ready?
We already got them. Ian is on top of it today.
Boom.
Boom.
All right.
Louis beats Travis Andrews and Johnson Savern.
Jason.
Surviving. Okay. All right, I'm putting in a new policy in place. Richard does not read the names any longer. It is 100% Jess.
Darn it! All right, that's fine. Huh?
Get them to email support at Waterbox Retailer.
Yeah. So email support at waterboxaquariums.com to claim your ornament. I will read your names from here on out, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think why do we have a drum roll yet? We need a drum roll.
Yeah. Soundboard guys, come on.
Another.
I mean, I've been asked every time. I'm like, ah. I'm like, we need. Oh.
As you guys know,
There you go. Brian's gonna bring a drum.
Put it in the middle.
Very good. Yeah, I like it. Let's
That'll
do
be perfect. All right.
All right.
Well, it's been good.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that.
We'll be here next
Good
week.
times, you guys.
Every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are here doing something with fish tanks.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah,
Thank
see
you.
ya.
Thank you all for watching. Remember, we're live on Facebook and YouTube, so make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and hit those notifications.
We're live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us next week. Thanks for watching.